Hey guys, what's up? Kirby Smith, Lightspeed Construction here in Halls, Tennessee, just a little bit north and east of town. Looking at a property that is a buyer-seller type transaction. And I'm gonna go ahead and check out this roof real quick. Metal ridge vents, a little dinging on the shingles there, or on the metal ridge vent. I don't see any hail dings at all. Nothing to really be mentioning to on the deck of this roof, or on the shingles of this roof. So we get hail dings on the shingles. There's a chance insurance company pays for roofs. A little collateral, just like a metal ridge vent with dings in it. Quite frankly, that ridge vent could have been taken off, removed and replaced in the last roofing job. So I don't think it's enough to warrant an insurance claim. That's a lot of times the first thing we're going to be looking for is kind of the direction that we go. And so, you know, this owner has asked me to come out and take a look at this property and evaluate it for a buyer-seller transaction like I mentioned. And I guess with that said, let's go ahead and get to it. So this roof has got 2 layers. The way that you're going to notice that is on the edge of the roof right there. This one's pretty easy to spot. When you come in here, you can see that second layer below it. Now don't confuse that with the starter shingle. If it's got just 2 shingles, a lot of times that means it's got the dimensional shingle and the starter shingle below it, right? This is in fact 2 layers. It's got 4 shingles below it. It's got starter and then shingle and then starter and shingle for 2 different layers of roof. I don't think this roof is actually insurable for an owner purchase. It's got corners turning up on the tabs of the shingles. It's in poor shape, and it's a second layer. Here's an example of where it's in poor shape. You've got something pushing out of the shingle. It actually looks a little worse in person than it is here. So this is not a good situation. You can see that particular shingle's rough and tearing. You know, this vent right here is not flashed in correctly. You should see this second layer of shingles covering this particular vent, and somebody's been kind of in here caulking stuff. So this is poor flashing. You know, really overall, this 3 tab, this doesn't exactly look to be, if you notice the widths on those tabs right there, kind of going up, this doesn't appear to be either installed correctly, or maybe even sometimes you see these things kind of move or something. You can kind of see that row is a little bit wider. Here's another shingle that's kind of pushing up. You can see this one from the ground. That's nails that are popping through. You can get in on those nails right there. Should be leaking, quite frankly. You got open face nails on the ridge vent. These are extraordinarily likely to leak. Probably well over half, well over a third, close to half of the roof leaks that Lightspeed Construction repairs would be from metal ridge vents that look like that, where we're coming up and we're replacing. So this should almost certainly be leaking. I'd be extremely surprised if there's not some sort of evidence somewhere inside of this guy leaking. Again, on the front, same story. I don't see a ton of hail damage here, guys. I wish that was, I know this owner's interested in kind of having this roof not cost him an arm and a leg since he's trying to sell. But it's just not a good case for a insurance claim type filing. I don't see it anyway. You see some of the, if you look down here, you see some of the shiny. You see that shiny on the edges of the shingle. That is one of the things that's going to prevent an insurance company from really being attracted to insuring this. The next step will be those shingles cupping and turning up on the edges, like right here, turning up, and they're starting to. You can kind of see that edge sort of cupping a little bit. And that's one of the things that somebody that's going to come out and inspect this property for insurance worthiness is going to be looking at, is the cupping of the shingles. We see that often. You can see they're kind of starting to. And with that fiberglass mat actually showing here, and the beginnings of cupping, a second layer, a ridge vent that is extraordinarily viable to leak. This looks like one of the most leak ready ridge vents of all time. Like that, for example, would be a great place for this to leak. You've got rusted nails holding this ridge vent down. This roof needs replaced, and that was our recommendation for this owner. And you know, the other thing they're going to hear from their home inspector is that the gutters need cleaned. You got stuff growing out of them back here, like right here. So that's going to be the other mention that we've got, is we'll go ahead and clean these gutters out while we get here and look at this roof replacement, and get this owner an estimate, and hopefully makes for a very smooth buyer-seller transaction on this property. And guys, it's Kirby Smith with Lightspeed. Hopefully that's helpful for everybody. The other mention is that as far as the deck boards, I know that'd be the last question, how much variable money is there for replacing the boards that are underneath the shingle, right? I go on the 200-pound test. It's what I know to do. It's what I got. Maybe 210 pounds. I'm not seeing any bit of movement. Now, a second layer shingles can kind of cause that to stiffen up a little bit, but I haven't felt any weak spots in these shingles. I haven't heard any crunching. So I think we're actually okay on that. And I think that the new owner can feel comfortable that he's got good deck boards on his roof without having to replace a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to state that really we're interested in changing the shingles to best service this home for that buyer-seller transaction. Guys, this is Kirby Smith in Halls, Tennessee, checking out a roof. Thank y'all so much for viewing. Appreciate it, and have a nice day.